So, back a while ago, we had a podcast episode that talked about video games are destroying men. And I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit more because I know a lot of people have talked about this, talking about how men are more purpose driven, more that we love to do things, we love to solve problems, and video games are really hooky for guys like us, right? For guys in general. And I know I can speak from experience. I got hooked on PUBG, Hunt Showdown. There's this new game, Once Human, out, and all my homies are playing it, and just listening to them play over the last couple of weeks and stuff. It has all the trappings of all those wonderful, juicy, tasty morsels of games such as Destiny 2, Destiny, Fallout 4, The Division, PUBG, and stuff like that. And it got me thinking, any game can be addicting. I mean, hell, I'm addicted to my N64 and my Super Famicom soon once I get my AC to DC adapter for it. There's nothing wrong with video games. I don't think, maybe it was a little hyperbolic to say video games are destroying men. Maybe I should have said video games are destroying some men and women, right? I didn't think about that. I think it was just a spicy take at the time we were recording our podcast. But, like anything, this argument has been beaten to death, when it comes to video games and how good or bad are they for you. Honestly, just enjoy life. If you enjoy playing your games, then play your games, right? Like, the problem is I'm on the side of the gamers, right? Like, I don't play live service games myself because they suck me in too hard. I know myself, so I better stay away from those. You know what I mean? Like, so as long as you know yourself, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you love live service games, there's nothing wrong with that. I love when people complain about the gaming industry getting, destroyed or killed. I'm like, well, nothing lasts forever, right? Eventually, when there's a new booming industry, the banes of capitalism have not milked it dry quite yet to the amount of where everything becomes so efficient and formulaic to make that easy cash money. That's when you know that things are about to go down to the wayside and go and enter the earth, and be buried. But, there's nothing wrong with, playing video games and whatnot. I mean, I prefer older retro games, if you want to call them that. I prefer older games that I never get tired of, because I don't get sucked into them nearly as hard. I can play them, I get my fix, I shut them off, and that's it. But with live service games like Once Human, that's a game that I probably get sucked in too hard, and that's why I've been staying away from it. And I also tried to download it, but then my computer blue screened, and I was like, maybe it's a sign from on high that I shouldn't play this game. And of course, my brother, God bless him, he's like, no, man, you just got to reseat your RAM and stuff. And I'm like, God. But yeah, man, I don't think video games are destroying men. I think it just depends on who you ask, what's their life like? Are they seeking refuge in these video games, because that happens. I mean, life is tough right now for a lot of us, dude. I mean, when was the dollar a dollar? You know what I mean? Like, I'm so sick and tired of talking about this too, so I won't talk about it too much, but everyone talks about rent. Everybody talks about, inflation, this, cost of living, that, boomers this, millennials that, Gen Z that, fuck the 9 to 5, fuck this, fuck that. It's like, man, God, just stop. Like, all that shit is man-made, right? All of it. None of it is going to be here once we're all gone, right? I don't know when that's going to be, but all of this crap just matters right now because we're currently living it, right? I mean, gosh, when you're sleeping, you have no problems, right? When you're in the grave, you won't have to worry about anything ever again. It's a little dark. I'm not a dark person. I'm just saying. But I mean, things will continue to run their course, and people get really uppity about the gaming industry, like I was saying, and it's an industry they can't control, right? Like, you just can't control it. Like, yes, would I say video games were better in the 80s and 90s? Of course. I will die on that hill. I will be honest with you. All the way up to the mid 2000s, I would say, is when video games for me kind of started to go downhill. Not like all of them, obviously, but just generally speaking, But Then again, that's subjective. Somebody else might disagree. They might be like, oh, in the 90s, games were going downhill. And I would be like, I disagree, right? But video games, are they destroying men? Sure. Somewhere out there. Someone somewhere out there is just absolutely struggling with video game addiction. Women, it doesn't happen to that much. In my experience, I haven't seen too many women addicted to games. I mean, of course, they exist. They are out there. I'm not saying they aren't, but I haven't met any personally. Usually it's men, because men, it's just how we're wired. We like to achieve things. We like to build stuff. We like to conquer things. We like to test ourselves in these games, you know? And these video game designers know this, right? So they will do anything that they can to optimize how much time you spend on the game. And with these looter, shooter, crafter games, it's an endless cycle, man, because it's all about gaining materialistic things to build weapons or build houses or build this or build that. And it's like the Tao Te Ching says, man, you're going to hear me say this a lot, but, you know, to know contentment is to know enlightenment. And, you know, to take part in the materialistic things too much, it's a downward spiral, you know, it's never ending, you know. Consumption never ends, you know. And I think about this a lot when I'm collecting games for like the Super Famicom or like the N64. You know, I don't go overboard, but I do collect here and there a couple of games I know I'm going to play a lot. But, you know, even with, you know, video games where people spend so much time on these Steam games, right? And it's like they don't even really own them, you know? Do you own your Steam games? I don't know. You know, people say you don't, because once they take them off the Steam store, I mean, you know, they're gone, but they'll still be on your hard drive. But, you know, you still need Steam to download, to play them, to launch them. So for me, I just really prefer owning my own games. But, you know, here's the thing. Here's the skinny in this video, right? You guys are wondering, you know, are video games destroying men? Obviously, yes and no. It's too much of a multifaceted question to answer in a video. But as long as you get out there and exercise, like I'm here at the basketball courts, I try to get out and exercise every day. I play a little Nintendo 64 when I'm at home, and I really can't wait to start playing my Super Famicom. But, you know, older games, you could definitely complete them and set them down, right? Maybe it has something to do with the fact that you've beaten them before. I've beaten many games before, and when I go back and play them, it still feels great, and then I get my fix and I set it down. But a lot of these games, man, they keep taking your time, and when you think about it, it's like the next live service game comes out. So when people say video games are destroying men, I think what they should say is live service games are destroying men and women and people's lives in general. I could see that. I could see that. But I think it's probably more faceted than that, than people give it credit for. But that doesn't make for a very good YouTube video when you acknowledge both sides, now does it? I mean, you'll always hear me acknowledge both sides on this channel right now. I'm just telling you right now, that's just how I am. But anyway, guys, play your video games, right? You don't need me to tell you that. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think video games are destroying men. I think it's very situational. I think people are becoming more and more aware that they should spend less time playing video games and engaging with entertainment in general, because, you know, you got to get stuff done too, you know. If you're just consuming all the time and not doing anything, what kind of life are you leading? You know, like, what kind of legacy are you going to leave behind for yourself? You know, that sounds like a very unfulfilled life. My buddy Tony and I joke, you know, in the dating world, you can say, because I have beaten Metroid Dread on Dread mode, he's like, but ma'am, you don't understand, I've beaten Dread mode, you know, kind of poking fun at the idea that none of it means anything. And it doesn't. I'm Prestige 100, Rank 100 in Hunt Showdown. I have all 90 trial stars. That doesn't mean anything. PUBG, I'm like level 400 or something. Doesn't mean anything. All these achievements in Once Human, all the bases you've built, all the bosses you've killed, all the enemies you've killed, all the weapons you've made, none of it matters. Except if it matters to you at the time that you're playing. And that's okay, you know? That's the thing about duality, is this world exists in the realm of duality. In order for something to mean something, you have to have meaninglessness as well, because how else would we know if something's meaningful if we didn't know what meaninglessness meant, right? So to me, all that stuff in Once Human is meaningless, but to somebody who's playing it and enjoying themselves, it means a hell of a lot, and that's fine. Both people are right. But so anyway, guys, don't be too hard on yourself. Enjoy your video games. More videos to come. I'm probably uploading a few today just so I can take a couple days off, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.